about freelance writing and then online business. So we're just going to jump into that. For those of you that don't know who I am, hey there. If you want, I can move it close. Okay, let me try that. Let me try that and see. All right. Okay. I'll try to talk to it as closely as I can. All right. So here we go with those questions. I'm going to answer those questions first. And if you guys then have any other questions you want to ask me, then you can go ahead and do so. All right. All right. So let me pull those questions up. So the first question I remember came from, I think Alicia, Tisha C had asked that question. All right. And Tisha had asked, when do I register my business? How to get started? I have my niche, but I am nervous. I have a business name, website name, but do not know where to go from there. How do I find jobs? I would really like to write white papers. How do I start? And that particular question is loaded. It's loaded, okay, with so many things. So when should I register my business? I am not a tax professional or a legal professional, and so I cannot tell you exactly when to register your business. However, I do think, and so this does not constitute that kind of advice, okay? So you should talk to a tax professional, or you should talk to a lawyer about that, okay? About when to register your business. But personally, I believe that the moment you start making money, you should register your business. And that can happen in multiple ways. It could happen that you incorporate your company, all right? So your freelance writing. So I have Nontra Digital Media LLC. So I went out on the IRS website. You can go on the IRS website and get a federal tax number for your LLC, or what's also known as a limited liability corporation. Okay, so you can go ahead and do that, all right, and get an LLC. Another thing you can do, or you should do, is to register with your state, right? So this is for those of us that live in the United States, by the way. If you live in another country, you want to find out what the laws are there. I don't really know the laws of other countries, but if you live in the US, the first thing I did was go on the IRS website, the Internal Revenue Service website, register an LLC, and then you do it with your state as well, so that you can pay both federal and state taxes. This is important because if, let's say, you end up making $1 million, you end up making 100,000, but you haven't paid any taxes, they could come back with letters and take your money, and you definitely do not want that to happen. So I say, as soon as you start making some money, you should register your business with your state, register your business with the IRS, and then get that done and over with. All right. But like I said, like my disclaimer said, this doesn't constitute legal advice. So please make sure that you talk to a tax professional or a legal person to make sure that this happens. Okay. All right. Great. Now, let me move on to the next question Tisha has, the how to get started. And I'm not really sure what you mean by how to get started with freelance writing. I have a bunch of videos on how to get started with freelance writing. How you get started, right? Let me just give you the plain and simple. How you get started is you create a portfolio, or you create writing samples. So create writing samples. And if you guys have any questions as I'm going, please make sure to just type it in the box right here, so that I can answer them once I'm done with the questions that already came in. Okay. So the first thing with freelance writing, always create your portfolio, right? You have to have something to show people that you've done this before. So I don't care what you're writing, right? Whether you want to write white papers, you want to write ebooks, you want to write people's blog content, you need to have proof that you can do what you say you can do, because people are about to pay you. All right. So writing samples doesn't necessarily have to be for your target audience, Alicia. You just have to show people that you can write. But it's helpful if you can write in that particular niche or that for that particular audience. So let's say that maybe you want to write for some travel you want to write for some travel websites, right? And you have travel content. Let's say you have a blog where you've written travel content, then you can share that as your portfolio. Okay. Now, when I say portfolio, people immediately get scared because they're like, oh, how do I create a portfolio? You don't necessarily have to like have a suitcase, and it sounds like a fancy word. All a portfolio is are samples of your work, okay, that are organized somewhere. So that could be your blog, right? That could be just a page. Right now, what I do is whenever I email people and I'm pitching myself to somebody, I just have a page where I have links to samples of work I've done. So it could be links to my own blog posts. It could be links to it could be links to my own blog post. It could be links to other pieces of content that I've written for other people that I'm allowed to share. Because as a freelance writer, there are times when you will be a ghost writer and you're not supposed to share that content with anybody. All right. Which is why I think that it's important to have your own work so that people can see that. All right. So a portfolio is not a suitcase. It's not any fancy anything. It's just a website of some sort where you have links to your work. If you also don't have a website, you could actually create the content, right? If you've created content for other people, print that out as a PDF or save it as a PDF on your computer. And every time you email somebody to pitch them, you attach the PDF to that particular email. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. So that's the first thing you want to do is have samples, whether that's a blog, whether that is a PDF, whatever it is, right? Links, a page with links on it. You want to have samples of your work to share with people. Once you have that, all right, I always say that it's helpful. And thank you, Alicia, for bringing up target audience and niche. It's helpful if you have a niche. So if you want to write in healthcare, it's helpful if I already see content you've already written in healthcare, or else it's going to be hard to convince me that you can do this, right? It can be really hard, and it's not impossible. Like recently, let me give an example. Recently, I tried to I pitched myself to a company. They needed a technical writer to write a manual for a piece of equipment. And I have written manuals in the past because of my educational experience. I've written some technical documents, but because I was not able to show them actual manuals I had written, they were kind of skeptical about taking me on, even though I know I could write it for them. So it's always helpful to have samples so that you can show people. Sometimes people will just go on faith and say, okay, you sound good. You seem like you know what you're talking about. So come aboard and let's work together. Sometimes some people are a little bit more leery, but don't let it discourage you from reaching out anyway. The only way you're going to get clients is if you reach out, if you show them samples. So choose a niche, create your samples. Once you create your samples, start pitching people. That's the third piece of this, is you start pitching people. And this could be in a myriad of ways. Tell your friends and family about your business. All right. People don't realize that your friends and family also have money, and your friends and family also know people. Right. So even if they cannot pay you, they may be able to tell somebody else about you and about your services. All right. They may be able to do that. And so always, always, always put it in the back of your head that it's okay to tell your family and friends about your business. Even if they do not patronize you, other people will patronize you. They will tell others because they have a network that is beyond. Typically, they have a network that is beyond just you and the people that you guys know together mutually. All right. So tell your friends and family. Another way I would say to start getting gigs, is go on LinkedIn, create an account on LinkedIn. And I have a video I did with Miss Nina B of the Miss Nina B show. She is a LinkedIn strategist, and it's a really great video. I'm going to find that video as I'm talking and then paste it in the in the comments, but she did a really good job of breaking down like 3 top things that you need to have in your LinkedIn profile in order to succeed on LinkedIn. All right. So let me look for that. And yes, it's true. Like LinkedIn will bring you work. Okay. LinkedIn will bring you work if you want to do it. If you want to work, LinkedIn will recently I had somebody who reached out to me through LinkedIn. I don't know her. I just happened to realize that she lives just about an hour away from me. But yeah, she reached out and she was like, "Hey, I see your profile and I would like to work with you in the new year." So, that was really a blessing. And that just shows the power of LinkedIn. I've had people reach out to me and ask me to do, some other types of work. So I've had inquiries through LinkedIn, and I have pitched people on LinkedIn and also gotten paid, so you want to get on LinkedIn. A super easy trick I'm going to give you with LinkedIn. All right. When you go on LinkedIn, and I've also done a video on this, when you go on LinkedIn, you want to go into the search. They have a search bar at the top of LinkedIn. You can look for people, you can look for different things. Type in looking for writers in that LinkedIn bar, and you're going to find people that have posted on the platform looking for writers. And you can pitch them directly. So that's how some of my opportunities have also come. Okay. So that's how you can start getting clients. You have to be relentless when it comes to getting jobs or getting gigs as a freelance writer. You can't just say, I'm going to sit in my corner and I'm just going to post on Twitter or post on Facebook or post wherever, and then people are just going to come to me. No, you have to tell people, and you have to advertise yourself always. Okay. All right, great. All right, let's move on to the next question. I have my niche, but I am nervous. Wow. Yes. Being nervous is a real thing, and I acknowledge that you're nervous, but what are you nervous about though? Are you nervous that people won't accept you? Are you nervous that people will just reject you? What are you nervous about? That's something I want to know. And maybe you are so let me just throw this question out there to you guys, is what are you guys nervous about? What are you guys nervous about? What makes you nervous about your online business? Let me know in the comments. Because I think that most of the time the nervousness comes from the fact that we think that we'll put in the work and then nobody will respond, right? I think sometimes that's where that comes from, isn't it? That we will put in the work and somehow people will ignore us. But people ignoring you is just part of online business. It's just part of business. It's just part of business. People will ignore you sometimes. Okay. There are times I tweet things out. I share things on Facebook. I'll share things here on YouTube. Nobody responds. Right? Nobody responds. But then I know people have seen it, because later on people will tell me, "Oh, you remember that time you posted about this?" And I'm like, "What? Like, you saw that? So how come you didn't respond?" Right? And so sometimes it feels like you're putting out this work, or you're doing these things and people are ignoring you. But the truth is that sometimes it's just on the right time, right? So you may pitch somebody and they may not get back to you because they don't need a writer, or maybe it's not the right time for them, or perhaps they don't need your service. Like I said, they don't need your service right now. They don't have the money for it. It's not a right fit for them. There could be several reasons why, right? There could be several reasons why. And once again, if you guys can hear me, see me, can you just put a thumbs up emoji in the comments, just so that I know that, people can still hear me and I'm not just talking to myself. All right. So sometimes you're fearful because you feel like you will be rejected, but don't allow that to prevent you from moving forward. If I followed all the times people ignored me, or people didn't respond to my posts, or people didn't respond to my emails, or I would not be where I am right now. I would not have built my channel to 1,000 subscribers. I would not have built my email list. I would not have gotten people to reach out to me and say, "Hey, G, we want to work with you." Like, if I didn't just continue going it would prevent me from having all these experiences. And so it's important for you to realize that fear it's real, it's there. It's likely that you're going to put in some work and it's going to feel like people are going to ignore you, but you should still keep going. And I'll tell you this, on average, for every 10 pitches I send, I may get 2 people to respond back to me, and maybe 1 person is going to convert. So that's a 10% conversion rate. Now, let me put that in perspective for you. 10%, 1 out of every 10. That 1 person could be a $5,000 client, and they are enough. That's enough for a home. That 1 client could be a $1,000 client, and it's more than enough, all right, for you to add that to clients that you may already have. So send out 10 pitches, get 1 client, send out another 10 pitches, get 1 client. So all you need to do really is send out 50 pitches, get 5 clients who each pay you $1,000 or $1,500 or even $500, and you very well could be making full-time income. But don't be afraid to get started. And yes, people will ignore you, but you just have to keep on moving. So I hope that makes sense. Okay. All right. Great. So thank you for all of you that are coming in right now. I really appreciate you. I had shared a link earlier. For the live stream, but somehow I could not go live on that link, and so I had to go live on this link. So thank you so much for still joining me. I really appreciate that. All right. So the fear, like I said, fear is just something you have to bust through. You just have to work through it. You just have to go through it. Ignore the naysayers, ignore everything, keep going, even when it feels scary. I wake up every day with a little bit of in my gut, like, I'm doing this. It can be scary. I decided to go live today. I had mentioned it last week. Before I went live, I was wondering, is anybody even going to show up? It's 8 a.m. here on the West Coast. It's I live in San Diego, California. Is anybody going to show up? There are people here, so you just have to put yourself out there. All right. So don't be afraid, Tisha. All right. I have a business and website name. Where do I go from there? That's what I just shared. Create your samples, right? Create your samples of your work. Start pitching people. Start getting clients. The only way you're going to validate your business is when somebody pays you. If you have a website and a business name is nothing. I hate to because I used to do this. I would build a website. I would try to go and get business cards, print out business cards. And I think none of these things constitute you having a business. You have a business the moment somebody pays you for your services. That's when you have a business. And you can do that with or without a website and business cards, to be honest. All right. So don't just send people to your website and say you have a business. Start pitching people, advertising real human beings who can pay you real dollars. And once you convert with that 1 person to a paying client, you have a business then. Okay. All right. So as we go along, you guys can still ask the questions. I'm just reading the questions that came in before the live stream. All right. And then I would really like to write white papers. How do I get started? I personally have not written I've edited white papers. I've not written them. But if you want to write white papers, then I would say that go and find the companies that need these white papers, right? What types of companies typically need white papers? The types of companies that usually need white papers are tech companies, biotech companies, companies that manufacture something that they're going to sell to people, and the people need information, right? They need it's not a blog post. It's a more in-depth document that you write to basically sell your service, explain what your product does. And most of the time this happens with tech companies, as software as a service, or SaaS companies. So go and find some tech companies, go and find some SaaS companies, some biotech companies, and start pitching those people. All right. Okay, so that's that. So whatever you want to write, go find that company and start, or those types of companies. And you can do this very easily on LinkedIn. You go on, I'm telling you, LinkedIn is such a powerful tool, you guys. You can go on LinkedIn and type in tech companies, and you can give it a geographical area. You can, choose the industry, blah, blah, blah. And you will have companies coming up, and you can go to their company page and email somebody. All right. So please, if you're not on LinkedIn, please get on LinkedIn. All right. All right. So, hi, Patricia. Thanks for coming on. Yes. So, let me take one of the questions here because I was reading the questions. But Patricia says, "Hi, G. I'm a new writer to freelancing, just starting, no website yet. What are your suggestions for starting writing? Is writing and posting on Medium and LinkedIn good places to start?" Yes, Patricia. Yes, yes, it is. So I was saying this earlier. I think maybe you were not on the broadcast, but I was mentioning earlier that it's so important for you to have samples of your work before you start telling other people that you're a freelance writer, right? And you don't have to wait to have a lot of samples. You can have just 3 samples of your work, and that's good. And most of the time, people get hung up on, I don't have a website, I don't have business cards, I don't have a business name. But none of these things constitute having a business. Having a business happens when you have your first paying client. That's when your business has really started. Okay. So you can write on Medium, you can write on LinkedIn, and this will build, apart from it building your showing people that you can write, and you can send people to those links. Okay, you will get practice, number 2. And 3, Medium and LinkedIn are both powerful places to grow as a personal brand. Now, I've never really talked about building a personal brand as a freelance writer, but maybe it's something I need to talk about. It's important for you as a freelance writer to build your own personal brand so that more people know you, because the more people that know you, the more you are top of mind, and people are more likely to send work your way. So build on LinkedIn, build on Medium, write content, put it out. I've written content on LinkedIn, and that has brought attention to my brand. That has brought attention to me. And so I've had people reach out to me on LinkedIn and say, hey, could you write this for us? So it has brought me opportunity because I started putting out content on LinkedIn. So yes, Patricia, yes, even if you don't have a website, Medium and LinkedIn, I think, are fantastic choices to start displaying your work. I hope that helps. All right. So it's a fantastic plan. If you don't have a website, don't worry, guys. Go on LinkedIn right now and start your account. That's all you really need. Later on, we can have a website. Later on, we can have the website and all the bare bones of what you need to get started is a paying client. All right. So I hope that was helpful. All right. So then let's move on to the next question. Alicia, that your question was, how do I find clients? All right. So I think I answered that question a little bit, right, Alicia? Yeah, kind of. Yeah. All right. So Alicia, you said you have a Medium, but that didn't work. How long did you write on Medium? Let me know how long you had written on Medium. See, I think sometimes I don't, and this is not to Alicia, this is not on you, but sometimes I think that we like I said, just posting, that's not just going to be that's not going to be enough, right? That's not going to be enough. You have to pitch people. You have to actually offer your service to somebody. So View said, like a mini blog on LinkedIn. Yes, absolutely. Like a mini blog on LinkedIn. Yep, exactly. So I don't have the capability to share my screen with you with this particular live stream, but if you go on LinkedIn, you can publish blog posts, right? And when you publish these blog posts, you can share that blog post on multiple platforms. And it's also important to remember that it's also searchable. All right. It's also searchable. So when people type in a topic, I've typed in a topic on Google before, and it went to somebody's LinkedIn post. So this stuff is also being found by Google search engine. So if you write on something that is something that people may look for, and yours is the best content on the subject, Google could very well pull that from LinkedIn and show it to other people. So yes, you can start a mini blog on LinkedIn. Alicia, you said you have Medium, but it didn't work. Could you go into details a little bit about that, about it not working? How long did you try it for? How many posts did you write? Did you pitch anybody whilst you were on LinkedIn? Let me know. Let me know, because I think sometimes This has happened to me where I'm like, oh, this is not working, right? And it was not, I wasn't working. It was just, I had the tool, but didn't know how to use it properly. And sometimes that's the issue. It's not that we don't have the right tools, it's that we're not using it properly. Sometimes it's not our groove. Like Medium for me is not my groove. Like it's not me, but LinkedIn is more my speed, and I'll write there. All right. Okay. So yeah, views, you're welcome. All right. So how do you get clients? And if you're liking this live stream, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. I appreciate it. All right. It helps this channel get shown to more people. So please give this video a thumbs up if you're here. I really, really appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up button, and yeah, and let's keep it moving. All right. So back to your question, Alicia, is how do I get clients? I talked about that a little bit. Tell your friends and family, create a profile on LinkedIn, use the search function on LinkedIn to start finding companies, people. One trick, let me give you one of my, I'm giving you guys all these secrets that you would pay for. But anyway, on LinkedIn, you can actually type the title of people and find. So let's say you want to start, and most of the time for writers, you would want to get in touch with like a content marketing manager or some marketing manager at a company, right? You can type in marketing manager for health company in LinkedIn, and you will get a list of people. All right. You can make it, such that it is geographically confined. And you should be able to find those types of people. All right. All right. Okay. So that's how you those are two main ways to find clients. I know you can there are people that recommend that you use freelancer websites like Upwork or Fiverr to find your clients, but to be honest, I don't like those types of websites, and so I do not use them. All right. So let me know in the comments if I already answered your question. If you're finding value, let me know in the comments so that I know that at least this is helping somebody. All right. Let's take the next question. Ajo Inforjo says, how do I find my niche? How do I tell the other areas whether the area I'm interested in is oversubscribed? And how do I know my niche is viable? Okay. How do I find my niche? Searching people will reading source views, could you ask your question? I'm not sure I understand your question. It says, do we are searching people will reading source our material? I don't understand that question. Do we are searching? When you search, I'm not sure what the question means, unless somebody else can help me. I'm not sure. All right. So great. So let's talk about niches, right? So good. Patricia says, it's okay. It's okay, views. Just yeah, let me understand the question. It's hard for me to understand it right now. It says, some niches I'm interested in. Patricia says, some niches I'm interested in are health, wellness, meditation, stress reduction, and all that. Okay. Awesome. Like health related topics, health and wellness. Yeah. So you want to then reach out to companies and organizations that may be in that, and you can do that with LinkedIn. It's really, to be honest, because if you can also go on Google and type this in and look for it, but I think on LinkedIn, especially for companies that have a page on LinkedIn, you can you will easily find people's contact information, because that's another thing I haven't even talked about is when you're reaching out to people, you have to find some email, right? It's not so easy to find on Google, but it can be easy to find it on LinkedIn. So you want to type that in, and on LinkedIn, search for health and wellness companies in your state, search for health and wellness companies in your country. It will give you up some results. It may even give you people that work there, right? The search will even give you people that work there, and you can look at their titles and look for the marketing managers, because usually those are the people that are in charge of content, marketing managers, and then reach out to them. Okay. Now let's talk about niche. I'm glad that Patricia has her niche, but I think a lot of the time, a lot of people get bogged down by choosing a niche. All right. And understandably so, because you may be interested in so many things. Like I am a polymath. I'm interested in so many things as a person. I'm interested. I'm not. It's interesting because there's certain things I'm not interested in at all. And once you know that, then you just strike that off the list. Okay. But I'm very interested in healthcare. I'm very, very interested in fitness. I'm very interested in online marketing and online business, obviously. I'm very interested in software, especially software that allows us to run our businesses. I'm very interested in all of these things. Social media, I'm very interested. Okay. I'm very interested in that. So it allows me to package my niche, right? And I've written a lot on those topics, so I can give those to people. Now, if you're brand new and you're choosing a niche, I would say don't just sit down. I want you to sit down and write down topics you're interested in. And then also consider your educational background, consider your experiences, like what in your educational background or what in your experience can lend to you having a successful freelance writing business. Some niches don't even know about freelance writers, to be honest. And sometimes you may be the only one that is in that niche. But it's important to realize that any niche where you see people writing a lot of content for, there's money in that niche. Let me just say that again. Any niche that you see a lot of people writing for, there is money in that niche. So a big niche that has a lot, that I personally know a lot of people write for, is personal finance. And personal finance is huge. And I tend to hang out with a lot of personal finance bloggers. So I know this personally, that if you write about credit cards, if you write about student debt, if you write about side hustles, paying off debt, mortgages, house hacking, anything to do with personal finance, that there is money, serious money in that niche. All right. I know people who make hundreds of thousands of dollars every single year from writing in personal finance. Another really good niche that has a lot of money to it is health, right? And as I'm mentioning these, think about what all of these things mean, because personal finance, why is there so much money? Because a lot of people are looking for solutions to increase their credit scores, to save more money, to pay off their mortgages. So people are willing to look for this information all the time. And so those blogs and those content creators that create content on it are always getting people searching for their content. So those people are always looking for writers to create more content for them. Same thing with healthcare. There's new research coming out all the time in healthcare. And with healthcare, people want to lose weight. People want to eat better. People want to control their diabetes. People want to do a better job with, their heart, and so on and so forth. So there is money there as well. Another niche that people don't usually talk about is e-commerce. And e-commerce, right? You can write product descriptions for money. I've done this. All right. Because there are more and more people who are going on Amazon, on eBay, creating their own Shopify stores. They need people to write product descriptions for them. So these three niches, right? I just shared with you three niches that I'm interested in because I just happen to have some interest in those. And I happen to know that there's money in those because I've written for them. So I want you to also sit down and think, what are my interests? What niches what things am I interested in? Do I like travel? Do I like healthcare? Do I write those down? And don't be afraid, right, to brand yourself as a health and travel writer or health and business writer. Don't be afraid to merge two niches together. It's okay. All right. Don't think that I have to choose one thing. And if I don't have that one thing, then I can't start pitching. No. Please get rid of that mentality, because it's possible for you to write about travel and health. It is possible for you to write about e-commerce and health. I've written for e-commerce industry. I've written for online business. I've written for personal finance. I've written for health. All right. So think about your own educational background, your experiences, your interests. And if those intersect with some, not because this is not a comprehensive list I just shared, some of them, then go ahead and then, jump into it. Now, how do you know that a niche is oversubscribed? And I think what you mean by that is, how do you know that a niche doesn't have too many writers already? Personally, I don't worry about that. Don't worry about what you see. I think sometimes we worry too much about what other people are doing and we don't focus on ourselves. Stop worrying about what other people are doing. Is it oversaturated? Listen, is it oversaturated here on YouTube? Yes, it is. But here I am on a Saturday morning doing a live video and there are people watching. It's going everything you choose to do, there is some kind of oversaturation to it. But it's important that you focus on your lane, because there is, and then also come at it from an abundance mindset that there is enough money on this planet for you to get 5 clients who pay you $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month. There is enough money in the universe. There's enough money in the world for you to have some of that money. Okay, there is enough. Now, okay, you're welcome. You're welcome, Views. You said, no, never mind. You answered my question. Marketing managers. Yes, that's just one of the, but usually marketing managers are in control of content. But you have to come at it from a mindset of number one, there's enough money on the planet, and number two, there's 7 billion people on the planet. I think right now we've crossed 7 billion. We're more than that. 7 billion people on the planet. There are thousands and hundreds of thousands of companies around the world, and there are some of those companies that need your services. And so you are going to put yourself in front of them, and some of those are going to convert into paying clients. Don't worry about what other people are doing. It's oversubscribed. Like, who cares? Okay. Everything is oversubscribed. Everything has some kind of saturation to it. Just focus on your lane and do your thing. Create your samples, create your own style, pitch yourself to people, get those clients coming in and get paid. What other people are doing, do not worry about that. If there are still any more questions, I will take those. And then how do I know if my niche is viable? I just shared, your niche. I shared some of the niches that are viable. And sometimes you may think a niche is not viable. And I don't even know if that's a good word to use, but they are. Because people sometimes want to be able to have written content. And no, I'm not just talking blog posts, right? I talked about white papers earlier, but manuals, right? A manual for a company. That's a type of writing. You can do technical writing, writing application notes. That usually happens in the biotech world, which is where I come from. Writing product descriptions. Some things don't seem like they're viable and they don't seem attractive, right? But they pay well. So never rule out a niche as, is this viable or not? There are definitely some popular niches out there, and I share some of those with you. So don't worry about, is it viable? Yes, I think there are certain niches that I don't know. I haven't encountered those niches yet, but I definitely think there are niches that have more money than others, right? So personal finance and healthcare and e-commerce, definitely these are money-making niches. Okay, so those are good. Now, View said, I'm in crypto. Is there such a thing as a niche that is too new? I don't think so. There are people that are writing about virtual reality and augmented reality, AR, VR, and that's really new, right? Social media technically is still really new, because social media is just about 10 or 11 years old. Well, a little bit, more, but a lot of platforms like TikTok is new, but there's a lot of content on TikTok right now, right? So, I would not. Basically, guys, don't rule out anything because you think it's too new or not viable, or is anybody going to pay me? Is anybody going to pay attention? Or I'm too new to this. Don't worry. I want you to get over the hump of fear and excuses and actually put it. Now, when you test it out and you find out that indeed they don't pay, or indeed it's too new, people don't even get what I'm trying to tell them, or indeed, like, you have to test it out to find out if your fears and assumptions actually exist, right? In science, we call that having a hypothesis and then doing experiments to test your hypothesis, right? So you test your hypothesis, and then your result either proves your hypothesis or it says, well, your hypothesis was never true. So you've made up hypothesis that, okay, this niche is maybe too new or whatever. Let me test it. Go and do the experiment. If you pitch 10, 20 places and all of them ignore you, 50 places they ignore you, then okay, fair enough. You tested it out. Now your hypothesis has been proven, then move on to something else. But I would not, crypto is hot, right? Isn't it pretty hot? I'm not into crypto, so I don't know. But I know enough that a lot of people have been talking about it a lot these days. So go ahead. You're welcome, views. Are there any more questions? Because the questions that were sent to me, that's all done. If there are any more questions, I'd love to answer that. If not, we will end this live stream. Thank you all for hanging out with me. Alicia, views, Patricia, anybody else that came in that was silent. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate that. It's an honor for me for you to spend your Saturday morning with me. And, yeah, I really appreciate it. So let me know if you have any more questions. Otherwise, I will end this live stream in about a minute or two. Let me drink my water. And make sure, if you haven't given me a thumbs up yet, thumbs it up, thumbs it up, thumbs it up. All right. So great. So yes. So Patricia, you said, G, in your writing training, how long is the program? 8 weeks or ongoing? Is there a group of writers in your program that can view that can you write, and would they be paid, right? Okay. So I do have, so great question, Patricia. I do have a writing course coming up. So that's going to be different from my coaching, my one-on-one coaching. All right. This one is a writing course. It's going to be launched in January, and I'm going to talk more about that starting next week. Next week, I'm going to go live again. So let's make a date and join me here. I'm going to go live again next week, and all of January, I'll be going live talking about the course. And in this course, there will be a community. All right. And I will be in the community on a daily basis. Now, are there going to be paid writing opportunities? Not necessarily, but if I do find any writing opportunities, or when writing opportunities come my way and I cannot take them, I'm going to be sharing it with this group and this group alone. I've done this in the past, even with my free Facebook group where I've shared opportunities, but I don't really do that anymore. All right. So I will have the writing course, and yes, you get, you can even get on the phone with me for about an hour, something that you cannot do typically. But yes, you'll get an opportunity to coach with me. So one-on-one, I'll talk with you on the phone or via Zoom, whichever one you feel comfortable with, probably via Zoom, and coach you. All right. You have opportunities for the Facebook group where I'll be there on a daily basis. You can ask me any questions. You can even bring in your work for us to critique. So you can get a personal critique from me. And I will give you tips and pointers on how to improve on that piece of content so that you can submit that. SEO tips on finding, yes, on Saturday again, I'll be live on Saturday again. Tips on how to find topics. You're going to have all this content, and I'll talk more about the course next week, God willing. So I hope you can join me next week. But what is the cost of your writing course versus one-on-one coaching? Great question. So with my one-on-one coaching, because I'm working with you personally, and it's not with the one-on-one coaching, it's not just with writing, right? So one-on-one coaching is also building your personal brand. All right. So it's freelance writing plus building yourself as a brand, so that, like I mentioned, when you build your personal brand, people are more likely to come your way without you going to search for them. All right. Because I don't want you to be on that pitch treadmill all the time. So it's personal branding, for yourself, plus the freelance writing. And that one right now, as I'm speaking to you, that's $497. It's a 3-hour intensive coaching session, and you have access to me for 4 weeks where we can chat and talk about anything you want to talk about during those 4 weeks. Okay, so that's $497. Now, the course is going to be $197, and you can do 2 payments. All right. So the course is going to be $197. You can do a payment plan, or you can pay once. All right. So you can pay $197 or do 2 separate payments that are divided. I think it's I have to go back and check, but I think it's 107 and 107 or 104. I forget exact the 2 payments, but it is $197 for the course itself, or 2 payments. And then you get access to the Facebook community. You get access to the content in the course. There's also content in the course. Any questions you want answered, a 1-hour call with me, and a lot of goodness, critiquing your work if you need that, content ideas, SEO, all that types of stuff that I cannot always share on live stream because it will take me a really long time to do that. It's going to be there, Patricia. So I hope that is helpful for you. And, I just want to say that investing in myself has always been the reason why my income has increased once I take that information and put it into practice. So, invest in yourself. That's one of and I'm not saying it just because this is my course. Just as a person, it's important to invest in yourself, right? We invest in so many things, but we forget to invest in ourselves. And investing in yourself is what's going to take you further than anything else. I promise. That's what has brought me to where I am right now, is just investing in myself. All right. So I hope that answers your question. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me. I'll be live again next Saturday, and I look forward to seeing you there. Have a fantastic weekend. Oh, and I think I was about to end it, but Patricia, I'm going to take a screenshot of your question and I'm going to answer that next week, okay? Because but it is a good question. Or you can just if you're on Instagram, you can DM me the same question, but let me just copy and paste the question because I really like your question. Patricia's asking, okay, let me answer it. Okay, let me just answer it before we go. Which social media is most effective to start with to build my personal brand and business? LinkedIn, Facebook. I think LinkedIn, hands down, LinkedIn. LinkedIn, and then maybe Twitter. I don't use Twitter. I use Twitter. I don't use it as much, but LinkedIn and Twitter are really good for writers. So that's the short answer to that question. Okay. LinkedIn and Twitter. All right. All right, guys. I'm going to end the stream now. See you next week, the same time here on YouTube. All right. Take care. God bless.